What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. Okay, another week, another town hall, and if you're new to the channel or new to this series, every week I give you my 5 biggest takeaways. This is not a summary. There are fantastic content creators, both written and video, that put these together. I know, like NFT Collectibles usually does like a video or live stream, and then Rosie W and some other folks do the written ones, but there's a lot out there, and I would highly recommend you go and show them some love. For me, I just like to focus on 5 things that stuck out to me during the town hall and expand on them a little bit more. So this is for the town hall on November 7th, 2022, and man, this was a great one. And I know I just said it's 5 biggest takeaways, but here are my here's like the roadmap of what I'll be talking about. And you can see there's a bunch of bonus items. So before we even dive in, I want to say that I think this is one of the best town halls that we've had in a while, right? And Matt wasn't on it. I know, so kind of weird, right? Because we all think Matt comes on, we all get hyped. There's so much information, so much alpha dropped. So this is not to call out Matt or say anything bad about him. I'm just saying that this is a fantastic town hall. There was a lot of stuff covered here, which I am probably even going to gloss over in many ways because, again, I'm only focusing on the top items here. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to talk about the first thing because I think most people are going to be interested in this, and that is Land Phase 1 was finally given a date. Now, to my knowledge, and I've been doing these 5 biggest takeaways for more than a year now on these town halls, but to my knowledge, this is the first time we have gotten a date or a time frame that is in the monthly kind of cadence, right? Most of the time we're shooting for Q2, end of Q3, end of Q4, early next year, that type of thing. But in this town hall, Land Phase 1, which again is a big part of, will include the actual reveal of where your land is in Praetoria, as well as what your land can actually do, right? So rarity and all that. That is set to go live. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. That is estimated to go live mid-December. That was something that Hardpoint said. So they are going to launch the tech modernization. We're going to talk about that just a little bit later. But like tech modernization, which is Land Phase 0, non-card market, Land Phase 0, that stuff is all coming soon, right? And will probably be implemented within the next couple of weeks. And then they're going to shoot to have Land Phase 1 out by mid-December. Now, Hardpoint did say that they may not get all of Land Phase 1, right, at that point in time, but they're going to try. And I, again, just out of caution, cautiously optimistic, I would expect him to be right on that. I don't know that we're going to get all of Land Phase 1, but it would be nice if we could maybe unveil our lands or see where they're at, right? Because there's a couple of different pieces to what Land Phase 1 can and will offer. But I'm just excited about the fact that they're really, really trying to get this out before the end of the year. And if they can stick the landing by getting at least some portion of it out in mid-December, that will do great. That'll be great for the community who has been really, really hungry for this stuff. Now, keep in mind, mid-December is an important time period because the second half of, mid-December is an important time period because the second half of December is all holidays. And I would very much think that many of the people will be off, traveling, family time, right? Like the world just kind of shuts down, and it's nice. It's the holidays. So I think that there is probably a strong push to get some form of Land Phase 1 out by mid-December. And with tech modernization going live this coming Tuesday, and I think it's gonna be a good thing. So hopefully for all of you guys who are holding land and who are super excited for turning your plots into claims or deeds and doing just getting involved with it. This is the first step, and I feel like we are almost there. So mid-December, mark your calendars. Obviously, we'll see how things play out, but that is like 5-ish weeks away, 4 to 5 weeks away. So I would be excited if you are a land holder or if you're just excited about land in general taking the next step. Let's go down to, like I said, there's just so much to cover. But let's go down to number 2, which is validators. And the main update here, and I know I'm going to cover this separately, but the main update here is that validators are coming along well. There's a private net that it seems to be, they deployed the bridge, to the private net, and they are working on the test net next. So the big takeaway here is that big takeaway for me here is that validators probably aren't going to launch until next year. And I know earlier this year when node licenses were first discussed and brought up, December, or by the end of the year, Q4, and then December was the time frame for them to make that happen. So obviously that is not going to happen because at this point the public, or what is it called, mainnet, is going to be launching sometime in 2023. And I think that was confirmed during the town hall. So what does that mean for node license holders? Well, you get you get another, at least more time to earn rewards while not doing any work to secure and decentralize the network, right? So obviously, we all want this to be out sooner rather than later. And for those of you who are upset about people getting rewards for not doing anything, I mean, it's justified because now these delays, which I would say were kind of expected, are happening. Now, granted, if you're a node license holder like myself, I'm happy about this. I like getting the rewards for doing no work, but ultimately, I do want this to launch. I want it to launch successfully. And I'm not trying to throw shade at the team, right? Because this is probably one of the bigger projects that they have along with land in order to implement some kind of decentralized measures to the game. And there's so much that goes with this that we'll talk about in a little bit later for one of the later points. But validators not going live until next year. Maybe you're looking at that as a good or bad thing. I'm kind of in the middle. I think it's great that I don't have to figure out all the technical stuff for validators until then, and I get to earn the rewards. But hopefully, nothing in the crypto macro world happens that will put anything at risk, such as regulators in all parts of the world, and obviously here in the U.S. where the game is based, or at least the founders of the game are based. There's no regulations that go heavy and come after this before they can fully decentralize the game or get it to a decentralized state. So that is number 2. Number 3, this was kind of a fun thing here talked about with DigiCon. And I don't know if there's additional information here. Let's see if we can find. All right, so DigiCon, so first of all, DigiCon is coming up. It is happening on November 18th to 20th, so I would definitely recommend attending. Now, here's the thing with DigiCon, and they actually didn't put any more information about this, so I don't know what the deal is with that. But DigiCon is kind of the side thing of what I wanted to talk about. That's why it's in parentheses here. If you've ever attended in the most immersive way possible, there is a metaverse there which you can kind of enter in, and I forgot the company that he's working with. I think it's Inverse, although they might have changed their name. You can essentially have like a little avatar walking around in this 3D digital space, right, on your computer, and go and interact with people, go attend the talks, go watch them on like a big screen. Obviously, again, it's like you're playing a video game, right? So think Minecraft or Fortnite, where you're just running around and you can kind of experience a digital conference, right? Which is the whole point of what DigiCon is. And for me, I've actually never done that. I have watched the live streams, so I've seen people running around in there, right? And I've watched the interviews and the presentations given, but I've never actually participated in that in that element. And I'm looking forward to doing it for the first time at this upcoming DigiCon. And the reason for that is because Aggie kind of teased the fact that he is working with this same company that helps put DigiCon together to create some kind of Splinterlands metaverse. Now, before you get all excited, this is not related to land, and this sounds like a completely separate project, right? Where this could be just a digital hub for people to go in, hang out, chat, do, maybe there's some kind of like mini games or things within there. The cool stuff is that Aggie said that there might be some stuff in there that would allow, that would be like purchasable in DEC. And again, that DEC would be burned and have just some kind of like place where people can go hang out. Now, think of like Discord, but in like a Minecraft type of arena or space where you could go in and just like hang out, see who's around. And again, I don't think that this will be land related. I think that this will be Splinterlands themed, obviously, a Splinterlands kind of themed metaverse. But this isn't like, where we're hoping we go in about 15 10 to 15 years from now, where we will be living in VR and I can go physically till my land plots, right, in virtual reality, or I can go visit your land plot in virtual reality and travel around Pretoria. I think this is completely separate, but it's a cool idea. And if you think about the elements that are here, if people, if there's a fun experience that is very Web 2 like, and I'm gonna be specific on this, but Web 2 in the sense where you can just go in and you hang out, and maybe you can buy skins in there, maybe you can change buy clothes for your avatar, maybe there's little mini games that you can play that are non-earning, but it's a fun kind of just place to go and hang out. And if you've played anything in VR, there's a game called Rec Room, for example, where you just go and you play mini games and you can hang out with other people. And granted, the novelty there is VR, but there's a lot of other things like this within Web 2 gaming, where you can just go in and hang out with people in a digital space and participate in games, participate in mini games or things like that. And if there's no element of play to earn, it won't be abused and exploited. But if there are ways in which Aggie and the team can charge DEC for cool things within there, right? So let's say I want to get a little hat for 100 DEC, or I want to get this, and that DEC is burned, it's going to help the overall Splinterlands ecosystem. So I'm super excited about that. I don't know what the launch date or any kind of details are for that, but Aggie, like I said, tease it. I think it's worth listening to. I don't know the timestamp in the town hall, but this is one of the town halls where I would actually say it's worth going and listening to. Listen to it on 2x speed, so you're only taking up an hour of your time. But it's if time is an issue for you, I'm not saying that, but to me, again, there was a lot of really cool information dropped in here, and this is one of the ones that was kind of just offhanded remarked. Although I'm a little nervous now that they didn't put anything within the actual area or the summary here. But again, I'm just trying to give you that information since you're not going to find it on the official summary either. But it is there in the town hall video, the recording. Okay, number 4. I don't know if this has been talked about. Let me just see. Okay, so I've actually known about this for a little while now, but I didn't want to say, oh, cool, somebody gave me a shout out here. Thanks. I didn't know that, or I don't think that this was talked about publicly yet. So this is the first time I'm hearing about it publicly, so I want to talk about it. But there are new rewards cards that will be coming into the mix at some point. And so if you know the old reward cards that came out about a year ago, like the Pelacor Bandit to Jin O'Shaughnessy's family, like that whole line is coming close to their max print, and it doesn't seem like we're going to sell out of Chaos Legion anytime soon. So these wouldn't be Rebellion reward cards. It seems like we're going to get a lot more Chaos Legion rewards cards. Actually, I don't know how many more, but we are going to get more Chaos Legion rewards cards. And let me say 2 things about this. All right, on the good side, I'm excited. These cards always change the meta. These cards are given away for free. It's fun to earn new cards. But number 2, this goes back to I'm not going to talk about this from an investing standpoint because you've heard already, but cards just in general are an inflationary asset class, right? Whether you invest in them or not doesn't matter, but they're an inflationary asset class. So when I hear people who say I'm against the Chaos Legion pack burn because I want to make sure we have enough cards for land, I kind of chuckle at that because it's oh, don't worry. More cards are always going to be printed, right? We will have more sets, we'll have more things. And, land probably, functional land probably still won't come out for a while. So we're going to have many, many more cards between now and then. And I get it, right? Because I'm against the burning of Chaos Legion packs, but not for that reason, right? But when people cite that as the reason, I'm just there will always be more cards. There will always be more cards. So this isn't surprising to me in the sense that, okay, well, now we've slowed down and they want to make sure that they have enough reward cards to get us to whenever Rebellion comes out. But keep in mind, once Rebellion drops, maybe even before Rebellion drops, we might get more reward cards again with the Rebellion background, right? There'll be Rebellion-based rewards cards. So between now and let's put it this way. I don't know if this is going to drop before the end of the year. Even if it does, I would say we are going to get more batches of reward cards now, as well as again in roughly 6 months when the talks of Rebellion are there. Because if we sell out or burn all Chaos Legion packs by the end of March, you can expect more Rebellion reward cards to drop or more reward cards with the Rebellion theme to drop around that time, right? Sorry, not around that time, but roughly 3 months after we sell out, which again would be July-ish of next year. And they're not going to stop printing the Chaos Legion ones. So, depending on how those are going, we might get more mixed in, but it'll just be interesting to see how this plays out. Either way, I'm excited for these, again, anything to change the game meta. And ultimately, people are still complaining about the fact that it's difficult to max out like everything within the game or have like max decks. But reward cards tend to be the cheapest ones and you earn them for free. So in a way, I like having them. And it's not that I want a ton of them. It's just that they're a lot cheaper to max out. And if they are essential to the meta, things like a Jin O'Shaughnessy, right? Or even like a Harclaw, Jin Chihuahua, like all those cards. And then you got your Pelacor Bandits, Mercenaries, and Conjurers. Like all of these affect the game meta in many ways. And I'm excited for that to add a little spice to the game during a time period where I have said previously that I think the game is going to get a little, I don't want to say stale, but we are gonna hit this area where there probably won't be much craziness happening between now and the end of the year and early next year, right? Because I don't think we're gonna get tower defense. I don't know what kind of like other plans they have for new rule sets and all that. So if they can put these new cards in, get us all hyped and excited about it, then that's gonna be a fun thing to help get us through this. What I'm thinking could be like a dry spell in terms of like lots of hype, right? Just because again, and it's not a bad thing. It's the holidays, so the world kind of shuts down, and I don't expect the team to be working 24/7 when the holidays are really in full effect. And the holidays, in my opinion, are really in full effect starting with like mid-November or like late November with Thanksgiving here in the U.S. I know it might be different around the rest of the world, and there's definitely employees who are all around the world, but here in the here in the U.S., where most of the employee base is, I wouldn't fault them for taking it easy over the last 6 months, or last 6 weeks of the year. They have done a phenomenal job this year. We are seeing stuff come out every single week, and big shout out to the SL team, development, creative, all of them, and it's well deserved if you take that time off. And I'm hoping that we can hit 2023 with hit the ground running in 2023. Okay, let me go ahead and jump into the final point here, which is somebody asked about staked SPS for ranked battle rewards, which is something that has been on the white paper. And they referenced the fact that this is something that's been on the white paper for a while. And the fact that it's not implemented is kind of like a big deal, or a bigger deal than most are making it out to be, because of the fact that a lot of accounts are still botting in the sense, or automated, or whatever you want to call it, with no SPS staked, right? So one of the ways in which you could increase the amount of investment required and make it more difficult, right, for people to do less mass accounts and really focus in on one account, is to implement this. And I've been saying for a while, if you've heard me, I've been kind of tongue in cheek and been a little trolling about this, because I'm like, nobody's really talking about it, so I don't think it's coming anytime soon. And that was, I think, kind of confirmed with what Hardpoint was talking about, because he brought up tower defense and how tower defense is going to pioneer some of the economy designs. So it sounds as though tower defense will be the first time in which, and they've already talked about this, right? So that information is not new, where tower defense is going to require some kind of SPS staking in order to earn rewards. What we didn't know is that tower defense is going to do it first, right? And the way that he phrases that tower defense is going to pioneer a lot of economy designs. And so, this might just be one of those economy designs. I'm actually confident that there'll probably be other economy designs that they test out with both tower defense as well as maybe GLG, right? Genesis League goals. And I've said this before, right? I think that what we're seeing with the pack sales and how the pack sales are designed to have an end date for both GLG as well as tower defense, and now we're talking about SPS staking required for rewards. We're not going to get that until, I'm sorry, it's not that we're not going to get that. We are using those because they are being built from the ground up. It's much easier to start from scratch than to steer a gigantic ship. And so we're going to start seeing more experimentation with that, which again just comes down to the fact that tower defense is set to launch at some point in Q1. And, at least from the dev diaries, I haven't seen like a fully playable game yet. I don't know how close they are, but if they say Q1, I don't think that it's going to be January. And I'm not, again, this is not me throwing shade, but this is just me being, cautiously optimistic and reserved in where my expectations are. So if they say Q1, I'm expecting March, maybe even like end of March. And if they get it sooner than that, awesome. But what I'm trying to say is that for people who are expecting Staked SPS to go live, you shouldn't expect it until after it's implemented in Tower Defense and Tower Defense is launched, which could be maybe late Q1 at the earliest, because let's say they do launch sometime in January or February, and the team looks at this and says, okay, we have a couple weeks or a month worth of data. Like let's get this set up for the main Splinterlands game. Then we might see it late March, but I would say Q2 at the very earliest is when we would see the Staked SPS for rewards. The other factor that comes into this is that, and they mentioned this as well, is they will need SPS validators to go live because they want to have SPS delegation as something that is available. So if you want to delegate SPS to your accounts, then, or to someone else's accounts. And again, this doesn't really solve the botting problem because, a huge whale can probably just buy a bunch of SPS and stake it to or delegate it to their other accounts. But either way, I'm just giving you timeframes for all this and when to expect it. And so, I don't know how the tie-in is there for the validators in terms of like why validators are needed for this, but the team has said that multiple times, so we'll take their word for it. And it's just a matter of validators going live some point in 2023. And, Tower Defense is supposed to go live sometime in 2023. Sorry, Q1 for both of those. So Staked SPS rewards probably aren't going to come in until both of those are out and implemented with no bugs or very few bugs. So that is the top 5. I do have some bonus things here. So for the release that's happening on the 8th, the SPS Brawl rewards are finally going live, which is awesome. I'm super excited about that. I didn't want to dig into it because we've talked about it previously, but that is a go live date, and it looks like there are guilds that are now moving to tier 4. And if I did my research correctly, I think there are only 6 guilds. At least I was just looking at the top 20, maybe 25, and I think there are only 6 guilds that are eligible to play in tier 4. So it's going to be an interesting race to see how many and how quickly some of the other guilds can get up there. The Lux Vegas shop page is going to go live as well today. Again, Lux Vegas not going, the sale is for the following week on the 15th. And then tech modernization, hopefully third time's a charm. It seems like they've tried to roll this out twice and have had to roll it back. So if they can get it right today, that'll be a huge step forward to getting non-card market and then land phase 1 out before the end of the year. Okay, this probably should have been a main thing as well, but Weirdbeard was talking about bots in tournaments, and it was actually a great discussion between him, Aggroed, and Hardpoint. And again, I don't want to rehash the entire conversation. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, you should definitely go check out the conversation. It was in the Q&A, so it's in the last maybe 45 to 30 minutes of the town hall. The main points that I will share with you is that Weirdbeard, and this is why I'm such a big fan of Weirdbeard, is that he came out and said that bots in tournaments and brawls are anti-competitive, and he thinks that something should be done about them. Hardpoint came in with like the middleman stance, saying that, well, it's hard to determine whether or not an account is a bot. And so, we need to be thoughtful about how we approach that. But Hardpoint also agrees that we want to reduce as much of an advantage that bots have, and has said that the team has been working diligently to do that. And then I would say that Aggie was on the flip side of this, which, Aggie is a decentralized or decentralization maxi, which I respect, right? And I respect where the team is trying to go, and I love the fact that they want to have a decentralized game or elements within the game. And so, for him, he said if this ever becomes like a thing where he and Matt have to police accounts, he doesn't want to do that. But he is open to the conversation of, well, there are bots in tournaments and brawls, and how do we approach that thoughtfully? That being said, Aggie did recognize that if a sponsor, for example, or some kind of sponsor or endorser, whatever it is, wanted to come in and do something for like a tournament, then he understands the need to address that head on for those types of tournaments. But for Splinterlands related tournaments, or Splinterlands kind of heavy tournaments, this is not something that they want to touch. And I've talked about this a lot here on the channel. I've been tweeting a lot about it. And this is why for me it's really, really important. I don't know if it's important, but what I'm passionate about is building a parallel thing, parallel tournament structure to what Splinterlands currently has. Just because you're not going to change it. You're not going to change the way that Aggie's looking at it. And I don't expect them to change, right? Like, they set this in stone, and I don't want them. I mean, as much as I disagree with it, it would be weird for them to kind of like turn their back on what they've done unless they put it to a vote. But even then, like, if we put it to a vote, I don't think a lot of whales and older card holders who, you know, are raking in just so much SPS from those alpha, you know, gold foil tournaments, like, again, it's going to get into a weird space. And so I don't expect it to change, because I agree with the ideology, even if I disagree with how the design ended up being implemented. And so, you know, again, this has turned into a whole other thing, but I'm going to leave it there, and I would highly recommend going to check it out, because it was a very thoughtful discussion, and I hope that we can have more of those with high-level members from the team, and they can keep an open mind as we move forward. And then last thing, as you saw, the roadmap was there. I'm going to do a completely separate video on the roadmap, so keep an eye out for that. This video was a lot longer than I expected it to be, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.